All right, hey guys. This is the second one-person podcast I've helmed. I apologize, I guess, for the lack of other people here, but that's just how it worked this time. Sean is in town, but he decided not to bring his laptop and recording stuff. And John is, as people who follow him on Twitter and stuff know, he's with Emile right now, recording videos and stuff. There's a fridge full of water there, apparently, or a cupboard or something. But yeah, I'm gonna hold down the fort, kind of talk by myself. I'll probably be able to look at the chat, get real depressed, and just be like, "Oh, everybody's leaving." Just joking. Thanks for anybody who showed up today, kind of earlier than normal. But yeah, this is the top-down perspective. It's May 12th, 2014, and here we go. Although, man, it's kind of like unfortunate timing on one front right away, and being yeah, there's me a few seconds ago. Unfortunate timing in that I finally played Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, one of Sean's favorite games of late, and there's like nobody to bounce thoughts about it off of, but I'll just share my experiences here, and we'll see if there's follow-up conversations in the future. So yeah, Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, 3DS, Nintendo game, bunch of baseball mini games, but kind of the interesting component to it is buying it is part of the gameplay experience. So yeah, they already detailed it. There's this old retired baseball player who is a dog named Rusty. He owns a sports shop. He's got a bunch of kind of sports memorabilia and like just baseball gloves and all this stuff. But he realizes kids these days don't care about the baseball. They'd rather play video games. So he wisely got in on that, went to Nintendo, got a bunch of mini games made. Unfortunately, they're not really moving, so he's kind of open for bargaining, and that's kind of the whole game is really you shoring up enough donuts and like discount coupons and stuff to help you buy the game, like the mini games at lower prices. Hearing about it kind of secondhand from like people who played it, like Sean's elaborate discussion about it, which I kind of just listened to. I wasn't there that week. Maybe kind of like, what? Like, that's kind of weird. Like, how is that going to, you know, present itself? Like, is it going to be kind of weirdly crass and corporate about it or something? Like, I don't know. They're like extremely generous with the bargaining. Like, there's a puppy that you have with you that basically just gives you all the tips you need to kind of get to the lowest price point. There's tons of donuts. Like if you play the mini games at all, you are going to be flush with donuts. Like effectively, if you were playing this game, it costs like $16, I guess, to get all of it. Although that said, I think I only ended up spending like 10 or something because there's like story games and then there's kind of other games that aren't as integral to the whole thing, which like that was maybe like one of the few things I took some issue with, in that some of the story component games weren't fun at all, really, but one or two, like, well, like specifically, there was one bonus game that I played that I thought was really fun. It was kind of this, I think it might have been the one John was talking about, like the fast reaction time one, where it's like, I think it's called Drop and Pop or something. It's like there's a giant stack of tires, and they're different colors, and like those map to different buttons or directions on the D-pad, and you are basically like quickly reacting, having to hit these tires off of these dudes, or else they'll get crushed by giant tires. That was probably my favorite minigame, and it was like the last one I unlocked because it was one of the kind of less important games. And I was like, oh man, this is fun. Like I did every single challenge, did all 100, did like pretty decent on the like the derby mode or whatever, where you just kind of play as well as you can, kind of a high score thing. I thought that game was really fun. That is apparently not a core game. Whereas there was like two games that were very contingent on tilting the 3DS around, and I found both of those kind of just less fun, like just slower paced and like weirdly harsh with the game over. Like it's just, oh yeah, you whiffed, you didn't catch that, game over. And then it's just like, I had one chance. You have one chance at this. Like it's like catch the ball directly in the center of the screen by like tilting around. No, you didn't do it. And it's just like that's not very fun. I don't know. So I feel like the money spent on those two games was kind of less rewarding than that tire game, which is, I don't know, kind of weird. But I guess like the story mode of the game is fine. Like it's kind of just a nice little drama or whatever. Like there's this dog, He owns a store, kind of at odds with his wife right now. Wife right now, enunciation. And yeah, he's looking after all the kids and all the stuff that was described with like cooking classes and all this stuff. Maybe it's not as dark as I thought it was based on like Sean's early description. Like the relationship problems are much more kind of G rated, like just nothing too serious going on, but it had a nice kind of melancholy downbeat, like comb over dog and his like past his prime and all this kind of stuff. Like there was some fun character quirks in there that made that pretty enjoyable. But yeah, I don't know. Like I guess some of the mini games, like I talked about the tire one, some of the batting one, like the core batting one is okay, bat and switch. There's one with fielding where you're kind of just snapping the glove to the left or like right or diagonals and whatever to kind of catch a ball at the very last second to get points. The umpire one was kind of novel because that is never a mode in any baseball anything where you are the you are the umpire or effectively catcher in some of the things where it's like you need to interpret what that pitch was or whatever, which isn't really something an umpire cares about, but they kind of just behind the plate stuff incorporate both of those things in a way that was kind of neat to see. So yeah, it was kind of cool to play through, but I don't know. I'm sorry, I just switched to the chat, so now I'm seeing like, does Rusty look like the Duck Hunt dog eat? Actually, now that I'm not exactly like he has a bright red nose, which was maybe a character design thing I didn't know was like part of it. Like that, I don't think about bright red nose when I think about a dog. Like it was kind of that was a little weird. Although weirdly, his nose is kind of almost a subplot thing where he needs nose hair trimmers like a couple times as like a gift for the bargaining. Like it's just like, hey, you should use this, it'll help you out. And he's like, wow, you're right, I can breathe so much better. How about I knock another 80 cents off that mini game? Like I don't know. That whole side of the game was kind of cool. I do, however, I am also curious with John as to like, what if you just bought it like outright? What if you just paid $4 for every single mini game right out of the gate? Like what would happen? Because it's just like, over the course of the story as I played it, like they're pretty happy that you're buying the games at all. So it's like, oh, you gave me $1.50 for this one. You know what? You're my best customer. Like, thanks so much. If you just walked in and like high roller and just gave them $40, would it just change the story arc? Like, is it just like, damn son, we're gonna like upgrade our store right now. We got a giant like superstore, and whatever. My wife left, but I don't even care anymore because I got this giant, successful, thriving business, and like whatever. Like I'm gonna hire a butler. Like I don't know if they even address that or if it's like they would interrupt you at some point. Like would the puppy keep popping in and be like, hey, you really don't need to do that. You should bargain. Look at the items you have. Like maybe this is kind of like, you know, you're strongly encouraged to bargain. Like the game isn't trying to like get $40 out of you. They just expect to get like 15, $16 out of you or whatever. So yeah, I guess you also can't use your discount coupons beyond a certain point. Like with the tire game, that was one that you can only get with discount coupons, but you can't like make it zero. Like it's just like, I have no like interest in these other mini games, so I'm gonna use all my coupons on this one. And I like, you know, I'll pay $4 for that one if I ever decide to buy it, but I probably won't because I'm more curious about this one. Like there is a hard limit. So it was like, I want half off. Okay, it's at $2. Now I want $2 off, and it's just like down $2.50, and it's just like, oh, never mind. I will use different coupons that only go down $2.50, and then I'll save my better coupons for later. But I honestly think I'm done with that game. Like I played the mini games I liked. I might go back and kind of improve some of my scores and stuff or complete more challenges. Like there are some pretty devious challenges in some of them. Like the tire one like got really fast paced, but that was actually relatively easy to complete, even like the advanced challenges. Like the batting one, there's just weird stuff, like the ball just disappears and kind of throws off your timing, or like they're just like fast pitch challenges that are just like insane timing. Like it's just like really rapid fire hitting, and it's just, I don't know, I got kind of frustrated at some of those. So that was kind of my time with Rusty's Real Deal. But cool game overall. Like I was kind of impressed with just them being not gross about selling you stuff as part of the story. Like it kind of made it just charming in a way that I appreciated. Like it was really episodic stuff, but like the menu for buying the episodes is part of the game. like I don't know how else to really describe it. Like it'd be like if a Telltale game had like a in-game character that sells you stories. It's like, yeah, I found this old journal. It's got all these stories. Something like if they kind of tried to like put an extra layer over it and make that part of the narrative, I honestly don't think it would work at all in that context because it would just seem super arbitrary. But in the story about like a shop, and that's the storyline. Like I don't know, it didn't feel too bad. That game honestly started kind of jogging my like memory, I guess, about weird mini game compilations. So I busted out an old favorite. No one's here to stop me from talking about it. Work time fun. I realized like I was going through the PSN store. I was just like, man, like what's some old stuff I should buy? Like I was looking at PS1 games, kind of eyeballing the Resident Evil games and stuff because I'm like, maybe. And I was like, wait a minute, Work Time Fun is available on the store. Like I don't have it right here in like on my Vita. I should just have that like on the memory card, like all times whenever I have my Vita around. I also have Work Time Fun. Like experience the magic for the first time. So yeah, $10, got Work Time Fun again. It's like 370 megs or something, and jumped into it like fresh again. Like I put like 50 hours into it or something on the PSP. Love that game in its own stupid way. So yeah, that game, I really enjoy the comedic sensibility of that game. Like basically, I don't know if like a lot of people really care about this game, but it's a D3 published thing over here. It was Baito Hell 2000 over in Japan. I think it was like Sony first party. It was like Japan studio. I'm pretty sure they also made like Trash Panic and The Last Guy on PSN, but they haven't made anything in like a while. So I hope they're okay, or at least I don't know what they've made since then. Like I kind of realized I hadn't played The Last Guy and stuff. I was like, oh, I should go buy that. But yeah, I don't know what they've done recently. But anyway, they made this kind of weird mini game compilation where like it just has this really oppressive kind of framework of just you are basically in hell, I guess, because there's just like a demon on the game select screen, and you just need to work forever. You just need to keep earning money to buy more things so you can earn more money to buy more things. Kind of amazing commentary on just consumerism or something. So you just do these like sort of tedious jobs, and you can't win really. Like, well, some of them you basically can, but at the end of the day, you just get like a couple dollars. Like, it's not like you beat the game credit roll or anything. It's just no, play mini games forever. Some of them are just incredibly terrible. Like, there's one I can't beat it. Like, I can't do anything worthwhile in it. You are a waitress in a restaurant. There's like 6 people usually, I guess. Like I think it's harder at night when you play it, but there's like half a dozen customers, and they all have like weird synthesized voices, and they just start like rapid fire throwing orders at you. They're just like, I would like Indian spaghetti, kimchi, sautéed spinach, isn't good. Never mind. I want royal coffee, and it just like keeps going around the table, and like every time the menu seems to be shuffled around a little bit, so like you're just trying to keep up, and they keep changing their orders, and just kind of like it's like in as little time as possible, it gives you like as much stress as that situation could be, I guess. Like it's simulated waiter stress of just like, oh, I screwed up the order. I screwed up like 10 orders, and it's just like I can't beat it. I can't do it. Like I'm just gonna not play this minigame. So there are terrible minigames in it, but that's almost part of the charm, I guess. Like there's a visual variety to it. Like there's one, I haven't unlocked it yet on this playthrough, but you are a drunken mayor, and you need to cut the ribbon at like a ribbon cutting ceremony for something really important. Like we're opening a new like sports center or something. You're just like drunk at this event, and you have a giant pair of scissors, and if you miss the ribbon, everyone will know you're wasted, and it's like, oh, you're not going to get reelected. So you got to kind of play along. But then that one ends with you having to like disable a nuke, or else the city explodes. Like it's just like their sense of absurdity is really great to me. Really great to me. And I don't know, just the visual variety and stuff. Like I said, like just like some of them are polygonal, some of them are stupid demanding of your time. Like there's one where it's just like, hey, we're all fishing. You should help haul in the catch. I'll see you in 7 hours. And it's just like, oh, okay. And the game just expects you to set down your game, come back in like 6 hours and 58 minutes, and then help them haul it in. But sometimes when you get there, it's just like, yeah, it's kind of overcast today. Never mind. Just forget about it. Nothing. Zero paycheck. Like, it's just stupid. But I don't know. It's really funny to me. I just enjoy it. And also just like the kind of, I guess, vending machine way you unlock new games. Like, I got a bingo caller yesterday that I don't think I ever unlocked in the PSP version, despite playing it forever. Like, I just right vending machine, right time. Like, you basically just press the button and it calls out bingo numbers. So you could run a bingo hall with this game if you wanted. And there's like a little flashlight app for no reason. And I don't know. It's endearing to me. I really like that game. So yeah, dumb mini games. And yes, Mario 64 Mario is talking about the pen capping. Yeah, there's a game where you're just in like a soulless, fluorescently lit factory floor, and there's an infinite line of pens. Like, the bottom of the screen has like 40 zeros or something. Like, it's just like, that number is impossibly huge. No human can ever do that. And you just cap pens. And like, you press X to put a cap on, press circle to move on to the next one, press down or up to like flip the pen if it's upside down. If you cap the bottom, you get a deduction, dude. That's not what the company wants. So yeah, it's just capping pens. I did like 500 pens the other day. I guess, yeah. I was playing this game at work, which just seemed to put like an extra level of weird, like, just, I don't know. Like, I don't dislike my job. It's like, oh, it's a soulless job. It's just like funny to be playing work games at work and like earning fake money while I'm earning real money. Like, it was just like, I don't know. I was just like smiling. It was like, this is so dumb. Like, this is the dumbest thing to play here. But it's like perfect for that kind of setting too, because it's just like, there are times where I'm like, all right, I'm done on the computer for now, but something else is happening in like half an hour. But half an hour, perfect time to jump in some dumb mini games. So Work Time Fun is back, and yeah, I'm on unlocking stuff again. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. $10, PSN. It won't take up much space, memory card, whatever. That's honestly all I've been playing this week. Like, there's a handful of Wii games I've been looking at. Like, I'm just like, I should jump into some Punch Out or give Metroid Prime 3 another go. Or I got Wonderful 101. It actually arrived, but I don't know. I was just, and like, I guess Asura's Wrath picking up from last week. Like, I just haven't jumped back in on that. I've been watching a lot of just regular television, not angry six-armed dude punching stuff kind of experience. So, not say that one's better than the other or anything, but yeah, I'll probably marathon the rest of that in kind of one sitting or something at some point. But yeah, that's it. That's it for games I played. So I'm gonna move on to the news. Sean kind of had a lineup of stories. I guess I also had like a couple I noticed were happening that I'm gonna kick off with. I just read it. Kind of was talking about this. EA, I guess, is shutting down a bunch of their online service for like a variety of classic titles. Most notably, I suppose, was there's this Yahtzee game on iOS. Just joking, it's facetious. Battlefields, all the Battlefields from years past, like 2142, 1942, Vietnam, all the, like that whole lineup of classic kind of Battlefield dice stuff is shutting down as of June 30th. I honestly haven't played them in probably like 9 years or something. Was the last time I booted any of those. But it's still just kind of weird to be like, oh yeah, that experience I had like in high school or whatever, like playing those, that won't exist anymore. You can't do that anymore. That activity is no longer viable. The Battlefront games are on there too. I know a lot of people feel really strongly about those, kind of for similar reasons. Like, it's very kind of Battlefield-esque experience, but Star Wars. There was kind of some other stuff too. Lords of Ultima, I think, is a bit after that. So yeah, on the EA website, there's just a big list of games that are going to be kind of decommissioned in the relatively near future. So I don't know. Check the list. Maybe some of your favorites on there. That kind of sucks, right? So yeah, that was kind of a bit of a wake-up call, I guess, as to how much time has passed. Not saying like, oh, you need to keep these online forever. That's your pact with your customers. Like, at some point, it obviously doesn't make sense to keep a like 15-year-old game online forever. 15's a bit much. It was 1999, but 13 years, I guess, maybe somewhere around there. Like, kind of weird, but that's the thing that's happening. Elsewhere, this is kind of the lineup of stories that was prepped here. Drive Club. I don't know if you guys remember the Drive Club. That was kind of meant to be a PlayStation 4 launch thing. It was going to be kind of simulation style racing type stuff, but like online, like only a digitally distributed game. There was kind of some PlayStation Plus hooks and whatever. I guess there was a bit of controversy in the last week when they kind of announced some of their pricing plan stuff. Like essentially, the game was going to be like free to try, and then you could kind of upgrade to like the full retail experience for about $50. However, there was a catch. You also needed to be a PlayStation Plus subscriber, or else your game disappeared, even if you upgraded. Like it would be like you bought the game for $50, but you need to be subscribed forever in order to continue to play it. Where, like, I guess people noticed that that was in there, and they're just like, What are you talking about? Like, I'm buying the game. Like, that should be mine." So they've amended that. The crisis has been averted by outrage yet again, and if you buy the game, it's yours. Like, you can just play Drive Club. I honestly don't know if you want to be doing that anyway. I haven't seen Drive Club, but I guess if you like racing, if you like kind of Gran Turismo-esque stuff, this looked kind of like that. But I'm not kind of a more serious racing game aficionado, so yeah, yeah, that's a thing that kind of happened, freaked out people, and then moved on. Nintendo stories. We got 3 of them. I'm gonna start with the big one, I guess. This was so big, I heard about it. Like just sitting on Twitter or whatever. Like this is one of the stories that made waves there. So the Pokemon. Some years ago, I believe. Don't hurt me. These were the GBA era ones. Gen 3, I think is what people were saying. So Ruby and Sapphire are getting remade for the 3DS, and I was okay with the titles: Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Alpha and Omega. That's huge. According to the internet, like just Grochin, there's some underwater stuff in this one. I guess you guys know better than I do, but hey, they continue to remake past Pokemon games with new Pokemon engines. And November 2014, get your Pokemon on. I will probably be playing an older one at that point to kind of just finally quell some outrage about me not having experienced that series properly or whatever. I still don't know where my copy of Heart Gold is, but I guess I'll just have to move on without Pokewalker stuff, which is kind of too bad. But yeah, new Pokemon stuff announced. This was a really brief story that's here on Kotaku, but sounds totally plausible to me. Skylanders and like Disney Infinity, like the kind of toy-based video game stuff where you kind of set up a little portal in front of your game console, put a toy on it, then it's time to kind of jump in and play around with kind of that stuff. Nintendo looks like they're going to be getting into that sort of thing. How do they phrase it in this story? Let me just see here. I kind of paraphrase it as some Skylander-esque toy-based stuff, but real toys to its video games. We use NFC, near-field communication capabilities. Spoke briefly about its plans for that kind of stuff. Nintendo figure platform. Full reveal is planned for E3. So I guess this is still kind of not like publicly unveiled to be like, hey, look at how cool this looks. So there's kind of just, this is a thing that will happen. Investors know about it. Yeah, you put a Mario figurine or Zelda or something, and there you go. I don't know what kind of context the games will be like. Like will it just be like minigame compilations, or just like if you have this figure, will some sort of other outfit get unlocked in like Smash Brothers or something, or like, they did say it kind of crosses platforms from like 3DS, Wii U, both of them can kind of do stuff. So I guess if you have the toy, you can kind of enhance your game experience maybe. Maybe there's hooks for this kind of stuff in games already, and we'll kind of see it come to fruition later. I don't know. Honestly, this feels kind of like stuff that is outside of my demographic of just like, oh, I don't want to collect toys and figurines, but like Nintendo has built up a roster of kind of lovable characters and whatever, so it makes sense for them to do this. Like if I was 10 right now, this would probably be something I'd get into. But yeah, I kind of just like video games. Like I'll probably be playing the Mario Kart, but I don't really want to have to go buy a Bowser toy to then get like spiky tires on my cart or something. Like I don't know if that's what's actually their plan for this, or you can get alternate horns or something, like different kinds of farts for Wario. I don't know. I don't think that's. I hope they have more elaborate plans than that. That's kind of why they're doing it. But yeah, Nintendo doing some stuff with toys. I guess Infinity must have done well then. Yeah, that market continues to grow. Speaking of markets, China. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to any box office news lately, but China is where money is. Like Amazing Spider-Man, not doing so good over here. Doesn't matter. China likes it. Hundreds of millions of dollars. It's fine. Looper, they kind of altered stuff to make it more China friendly. Like it is a thing that has been happening for a while. China's a big market, and Nintendo's looking over there too. They're kind of like, we got some business plans for China. Again, I don't know what that's going to entail. Like I don't know if like how they're going to crack into there, but Nintendo knows there's money there. And I guess I saw a story kind of just out of the corner of my eye about this is like the third year of losses for Nintendo. Like Wii U sales continue to be bad and stuff. So China money's money. Let's go over there. And okay, this last story here was kind of big, but also I was just kind of nodding with like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. This is on Kotaku. More signs that a big Xbox One leak was real. So I guess on NeoGAF, popular forum, there was a dude with a really dumb username. Apologies to NTKRNL. NT Kernel. I'll go with that. He kind of made a bunch of kind of insidery proclamations about stuff. One of them was concerning Sunset Overdrive, which is the new Insomniac Games kind of multicolor, like it's very colorful trailer, but it's some sort of action game. He was talking about there's this energy drink in it, Overcharge XT. Giant corporations turning people to monsters. You need to drink this drink. I guess this was stuff that wasn't explicitly said. Like there was a little reveal trailer last year, but there was nothing kind of spelled out about this game. Insomniac subsequently released some information about the game that validated those claims by NT Kernel. So now people are looking at like the rest of the list of stuff he said and kind of like, whoa, stuff might happen. And up to that point in the story, I was like, oh, interesting. What kind of other stuff? And then when I read the stuff, it's like, yeah, all of that stuff is probably going to happen. Like this isn't that crazy to me, but Halo 2, popular multi-million selling title, is going to get an anniversary edition. They're going to re-release super popular Halo title. Yeah, of course they will. Like that'll probably happen. Like they did it before with Halo Combat Evolved, so they're going to remake another Halo game. There's a white Xbox One on the way. A different colored Xbox One. I know. So exciting. This next one, actually, I have not played Forza Horizon, but there's some sort of follow-up plan to Forza Horizon. I do remember that game was well-liked, though, so that also kind of makes sense. Like, it's like, this well-regarded racing game we made, we're going to make another one of those. It's like, okay, yeah, you should do that. I guess more kind of long-tail stuff, though, was a Platinum game for Xbox One in, like, 2016, and Halo 5 2015. But again, there was already a trailer for Halo 5. Like, he had a, like, cloak over his helmet. No idea why, other than to conceal his identity until the very end of the trailer. I hated that trailer. It was so dumb. But, yeah, Microsoft kind of teasing some stuff inadvertently. Rumors probably going to come to pass. But, yeah, there you go. That's honestly all I had for news. So, emails? I don't say it right. John's not here. It's just me. I guess I appreciate everybody sending questions. I apologize again if it's like, oh man, I really wanted Sean's take on this one, or John, like this one specifically says John in the question, and here's Nathan answering it. What's that about? Yeah, it's just me. So I'm gonna do my best to answer some of these questions. Some of them are franchises and stuff I don't know about. So bear that in mind. But hey, maybe we'll run some of these by the guys next week. But okay, first question here. Well, first batch of questions. It's from Michael Jacobs on Twitter. If you could be any animal from a video game, which would you be? As people can answer in the chat or something too, if an animal springs to mind. But if I could be any animal in a video game, I'm trying to it's like Rusty. No, he's a dog. He's kind of sad. Well, over the course of that game, maybe he becomes less sad. Maybe. Spoilers. I was thinking hedgehogs. They're popular. I was also thinking about like weird anthropomorphic stuff. Like, can I be the dude from like an Elysian Tale? Is that okay? Like, get a little freaky, become like kind of a fox man, or I guess tails. He's got like 2 tails. That's pretty crazy. A Chidna or Kidna. I'm just thinking of Sonic stuff at this point. They've kind of just made animals their thing, and I'm just thinking about like obviously Animal Crossing. It's like Tom Nook. He's like a kingpin. There you go. I'm gonna stick with that. Be a like raccoon shopkeeper. I would be Tom Nook. That's who I would be. Next question: what is a game you can play no matter what? Funny you ask. It's kind of perfect timing. I saw this question. I was like, oh, work time fun. Like here we are, 10 years later. I'm thrilled to be jumping back into that game. Like I have to unlock everything again, but it's kind of just like, oh yeah, this stupid game. Like it's fun to see that again. And like the weird graphical style they went with, like it just kind of on purpose looks shitty sometimes. Like it just kind of doesn't matter. Like it's a PSP game, but it's on the Vita screen. Like it looks like dumb mini games. I guess in a similar way, like probably some of the WarioWare stuff, like that kind of just fast-paced, eclectic-looking nonsense. Like I could play that any day. And then kind of old standby Super Mario World up to this point has always been pretty entertaining and reliable. I should probably get that on portable at some point, like just kind of have that on me. Like I've always just kind of gone back to the Super Nintendo to play that, but I know they've re-released it multiple times. So I guess I could totally do that. So yeah, classic Mario titles, weird mini games, those are kind of my jams. Man, this dude in the chat really doesn't like Google Plus, so yeah. Okay, next question, also from Michael. Would you go to the Smash Fest at Best Buy? I think we touched on it last week, but yeah, Nintendo announced that as part of their kind of E3 stuff, they're going to have Smash Brothers at Best Buy locations all around. I don't know if that includes local Best Buys. I guess I'm not going to E3 this year like I did the last 2 years, but this year, like just kind of after experience last year, both at that and PAX, like I just kind of feel like I don't know what my role is at a show like that. Like I don't really have a mission when I go there. It's also kind of expensive, and this year we're moving around that same time, so it's just not a good idea. I'm sure John will be going though. I'm assuming anyway. I don't want to speak for him, but like I guess since I'll be hanging around here and just kind of watching E3 stuff unfold the old-fashioned way of just getting up to watch stuff live streamed and whatnot, which I'm assuming is an experience that has improved a lot over the years in terms of getting like really immediate access to all that stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll go like check out a local Best Buy and just kind of get a look at it. Like I'm not like fiending for a new Smash Brothers exactly. Like I guess maybe I am a little curious now in light of that Smash Brothers documentary I watched to see like, is it fast paced? Like what kind of gameplay flow is this one gonna have? Because like watching Brawl compared to Melee like in that kind of side by side in that YouTube series was just like, oh wow, it is so slow. Like just Meta Knight's like slowly kind of floating around. Like this is just weird. I like as a casual enjoyer of those games, like I'd never really noticed that pace difference. But yeah, this time around, I'll be able to kind of pay more attention to that. So yeah, it's possible I'll stop by a local place and check that out. Again, if it's available here, I guess I can check the website. Although, yeah, like some people saying, why don't you just release a demo on like Wii U? Like, why don't you just release something on the eShop? Like that's, that would be way more convenient. Like it's like, hey, I would totally download a Smash Brothers demo, like if that was a painless experience. But, I guess travel to Best Buy. Like there's one downtown, and like that's kind of just a good shopping area. So maybe just roll that into a day of activities, like go get some poutine or something. Canada. And last question from Michael: would you like to be in John's Skype call when he streams? I don't know. Like that dude seems to be streaming a lot, so that's not entirely unfeasible. But I don't know. Like that sounds like kind of a chaotic experience. Maybe like, I don't know. Maybe if he wants that, he could invite me. But I'm also kind of working more than in years past. So I don't know. It's not something I've really consciously thought about much. But that dude's kind of got his thing, and I don't want to kind of step on toes or whatever. Like, yeah. So I don't know. Next question from Twitter, Enag7. Are you going to Otafest this weekend? Any plans to meet fans if you do go? I guess, yeah, Otafest here in Calgary. That's our local kind of anime festival. I went a couple years ago. Andrea Libman was there. That was kind of at the peak of that whole pony fascination. First season's the best, man. I know they announced season 5, but I'm just not feeling it anymore, dude. I don't wear those shirts anymore either. I got Ravio. It's my replacement, vibrantly colored shirt. So Outfest this weekend. Like nowadays, I work Friday, Saturday, so those 2 days are out. Sunday is a possibility. Like Brittany and I have definitely talked about. Like, hey, do you want to just stop by the thing, kind of check out just the show floor, I guess, and maybe stop by a panel, watch some FMVs or something. But yeah, there's only like a 1 day window where that is even possible for me this year. So yeah, I don't know. Like Godzilla comes out that weekend, and I wouldn't have been able to see it the previous 2 days. So we were kind of making some preliminary plans for Sunday being the day, but maybe I'll push it to Monday and go to the Otafest. I don't know. I guess if we do meeting fans, like I don't know, like that's not something I've ever really done outside of like PAX or something. There's been people who are like, oh, you actually know about our podcast. Okay, like I don't know how to really deal with that, but cool. Like I don't know. I don't know if John's going. He definitely was there quite a bit the 2 years ago when I was when I stopped by there for like I went for the whole thing one time. Although I slept through most of 1 day, which was unfortunate. I missed a panel I was looking forward to. But yeah, I might go for 1 day. I don't know if John's going for the whole thing. But yeah, there you go. Oni writes in, are there any games that you go to play but never finish? So games I kind of keep going back to, maybe, that I just can't bring myself to get through the whole thing. There's definitely games I feel kind of bad that I never got into them, like Valkyria Chronicles. I remember I paid $80 for that game because I was under the impression it was going to be like rare. I was like, oh, dip, no one cares about this. Also, there was a kind of, Vice from Skies of Arcadia is in it. Like, that's a crossover to something you cared about a lot in the GameCube era. Like, you should get in on that. And I don't know. It was kind of kind of weird to like see that fizzle out or whatever. Like that interest in that game fizzle out. Like it was just like, oh, it's like a strategy heavy RPG. Like I just kind of wasn't in the mood for that at that time, and I just kind of haven't gone back to it. But it's like, no, it's a game like I've heard is cool. I wanted to play at one time, and it just kind of I missed the boat on that. So I still have it. I could play it, but yeah, I don't know. That's one. I guess Final Fantasy Tactics in a similar way, like a lot of tactical RPGs, I've kind of dabbled with, and then just kind of moved on. Like Tactics Advance was the one I put like 20 hours into, and eventually just kind of lost interest in that too. Like there was just nothing narratively pulling me into it, and I was just like, yeah, the battles are kind of interesting, but they're also kind of frustrating sometimes. Like I just wasn't enamored with that stuff. So I guess a lot of Japanese RPG type stuff that's like extremely long games that I get kind of dubious about the narrative payoff at some point in some of them. So yeah, I guess I'm a little flaky when it comes to those. I guess, yeah, like a 12-hour campaign, like that's just easy to get through. That's not that a big deal. But once you start bumping that number up by like 2 or 3 times, it's like, yeah, it's like 46 hours. It's like, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. So yeah, there's a handful of games like yeah, there's a good handful of Japanese RPG type stuff that I played but never really got all the way through. Allison has a handful of questions. With the new Pokemon Gems coming out, I think that's an intentional typo. There you go. Coming out in November. Are any of you excited? What other games are you excited for? I am personally. I don't really have too much interest personally. Like I haven't played a lot of those games, as you know. I don't know what Sean's read on those games was exactly. Like he typically plays the annual Pokemon release. I'm kind of wondering what his feelings were on like Sapphire and Ruby specifically. Like if that's something he was really, really looking forward to. What games am I excited for later this year? We kind of brought it up before, but Arkham Knight is probably something I'm going to check out. Um, man, there's just kind of a bit of like a dearth of stuff I'm like fiending for, you know? Like there's games I'll check out. Like I want to check out Smash Brothers, want to check out Mario Kart. That's pretty soon though. Not as soon as I thought though. I thought it was coming out like next week or this week, but it's the 30th now, so kind of a bit of a wait there. But man, yeah, like other stuff. Grand Theft Auto 5 on PC. That'll probably be pretty cool if that happened. I'd gladly check that game out again. Game of the year last year, so that wouldn't be too bad. If they ever make another Zero Escape game, but that's not a thing that's announced or even in development necessarily, so I don't know why I would bring that up. Yeah, that like personally, I'm kind of enjoying going back. Like it's like there's kind of this weird gap right now in terms of like the current generation, like the generation that's like PS4, Xbox One stuff, like that hasn't kicked into overdrive yet, and the last gen's kind of fizzling out. So it's a sweet time to just kind of catch up on stuff, play old favorites, just kind of like I want to play Haze, I want to play Metroid, Punch Out, like just kind of stuff I enjoyed last time, but I didn't get to like devote a lot of time to, or like stuff I thought was curious but like didn't check out, like Bulletstorm, for example. Like I am enjoying video games right now, but just kind of like now there's kind of the book is closed on the last generation. I'm gonna be like, what were some things that stood out that I didn't get to look at personally? That's kind of the experience I'm having now, and I love playing old games, like going back and kind of getting some firsthand stuff with stuff I'd heard about on podcasts and stuff over the years, or kind of impressions out there. Like now I can kind of have some time to catch up on that. Like maybe some of the Suda stuff that I missed. Like I never finished Shadows of the Damned. I never finished Lollipop Chainsaw. Like I kind of flaked out halfway through No More Heroes 2. Like maybe kind of go check out that stuff. Or oh man, what was that? There was another game that came out last year. It was like that weird kind of you're this hitman. There's this weird flirting mini game that people hated. I played it at E3. I'm sure people know what I'm talking about, but I apologize. The name's just not in my brain right now. Now I'm thinking Metal Gear Rising. Like I didn't finish that. So yeah, like there is catch-up time. So I'm looking forward to playing a lot of games. Not so much ones that are coming out this year necessarily. Longer term than that, though, I don't think it's this year, but I am actually pretty interested in Quantum Break. Like, of the next-gen stuff that's been announced, that is one that's just like, I like going back last year, like I played all the Alan Wake stuff and was kind of just like, man, this is great stuff. Like Remedy does some really cool stuff. I want to see what they're doing next time. So like even though I'm anecdotally PS4 is just kind of a more enjoyable machine for whatever reason, like Xbox One currently has the software that is piquing my interest a little more. Like that they have Swery's next game, which is a Kinect based thing, which could be super crazy. And like Dead Rising 3 is already on that thing. So they got some stuff I'm kind of more curious about than just like, hey, we got some more Naughty Dog stuff. We got Infamous. Like it's just like, like there's Killzone. Like I don't care about those franchises, so I'm good. And that, just by saying all that, though, talking about that stuff, like I was reminded about we talked about last week, the most expensive game ever, Bungie's new thing. It's coming out. Destiny. Took me a second. I was like, what the hell is that called? I might check that out. Like I liked some Halo stuff those guys did, so maybe that'll be worth looking forward to. Again, I don't have like first-hand knowledge. Oh, also that Lord of the Rings game. I keep bringing it out. Lord of the Rings, Assassin's Creed. Kind of looking forward to that. Allison also writes in, I hate spring and summer because I get hornets' nests outside my window and deal with bugs a lot. That sounds terrible. So that specific thing, I get it. But it's like, hey, you guys like spring or summer? Yeah, I've never had to deal with hornets' nests. I guess the one bugs-related thing, though, like it seemed to be annually for a little bit. Come April, ants. Like just ants. In two different places, ants would just kind of show up in the house. And hate that. Like that's like nightmare-inducing stuff for me. Like I'll just have dreams about ants and spiders and stuff at some point, and I'm sure it's kind of encouraged by experiences like that. So I don't hate those seasons, but okay. Sorry, I opened the chat again. Killer is Dead is the Suda game I was referring to earlier. But yes, I don't hate those seasons, but I do hate those things about them. But honestly, we're in a basement apartment right now. Like I said, we're moving. But as of right now, like over the winter, it was crazy cold down here. So come warmer seasons, that doesn't happen. Like it's not like you need to bundle up with a blanket and like slippers, and you need to drink hot chocolate just to live. Like this time of year is a little bit better on that kind of stuff. So I do enjoy spring and summer. However, I found out yesterday the hours at the library change come spring and summer. Like come next Sunday when I go to pick up a new batch of Sidney Lumet movies, I can't get them because they don't open. Like today, last time they opened at noon, and I was able to go in there and get Death Trap, pick up some Pawnbroker, 12 Angry Men, like all the classics. And now I can't do that. So my weekly library ritual that I just established is going to be thrown off. So you're right, springtime sucks. No, I don't know. Like I don't. Of the 4 seasons available, those are some of the best ones. I know there's only 4. I also like fall. Winter sucks, especially here because it never ends. It was snowing like last week. I'm almost at graduation time, and I'm stressed due to final touches on classwork. How was your end of high school years? I guess the end of my high school time actually was pretty cool because it just seemed like the world started opening up in terms of like I finally got a driver's license. I finally had a little bit of walking around money just from like I finally had a part-time job and stuff. Like, yeah, that like just kind of going out for lunch with some peers. Like that was kind of a thing that started happening in high school. Also going to terrible movies with peers, like Firewall, which is a terrible movie, but I kind of made that happen. I was like, hey, we should go on like a big group thing, go to see Firewall. It's got Harrison Ford. Terrible. That was terrible. So I apologize to that group for making that event happen. But generally speaking, like there was also this cool little sandwich place. So yeah, I guess in terms of like the actual classwork, kind of stayed more or less the same. There's kind of more tests, like more kind of big grade percentage tests that needed to happen, but outside of math, which was dogging me like throughout high school, like I wasn't too nervous about any of those, and I passed that math one thanks to like a lot of after school tutoring and stuff that happened in this. Oh man, weird thing that just kind of happened. Like I borrowed a CD with like mini games, essentially like math related learning stuff on them for over the summer, and I was supposed to bring it back, but I just kind of forgot about it, and then no one kind of brought it up again, so I just ended up inadvertently stealing this math CD, and I felt really guilty about it for a while, and then eventually realized, like, if it mattered, I would have gotten, like, at least indication. That's like, hey, where's that? Like, I don't know. I eventually just kind of that guilt faded away. But yeah, inadvertently stealing from teachers, dude. It's crazy. I know, I'm such a rebel. I had a pretty docile, like, insulated, very safe high school experience, so sorry if those stories are pretty boring, but yeah. Well, there's one time I almost backed the van into a church like front because I just jumped out and the it was in reverse and the brake was, it's pretty crazy. I jumped back in and stopped it. Nothing happened. See, that's the boring ending to the story. It's like if it's like I plowed through the foyer of a church, that would be crazy. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Like it just was like, yeah, the vehicle lurched and I stopped it. Not exciting. So that's my life. Safety. Final question from Allison. Still Allison's questions. Are there any movies or television shows you watch as a guilty pleasure? So not shows I'm proud for watching. Honestly, like watching Hannibal more and more, it becomes like harder and harder to justify what it is I like about that show because it's like so perverse in its like attitude about killing. Like it's just like the most theatrical serial killers in the land are all in this area and they're doing horrible things to people, and you can tune in every single week to see new carnage, and it's just like there's not a lot like redeemable about this show in terms of like moral lessons or like relatability to our lives. Like it's kind of just this gross little thing. Like Hannibal as a character, like really the last episode of the season I saw, season 2 episode 10, like just like kind of reveals how devious he's been being this whole time, like just kind of quietly corrupting everyone that comes through his office. Like, it was kind of just this like feeling of just like, oh, like outside of really messed up Korean thrillers like I Saw the Devil and stuff, I haven't had that kind of like, this person is like so gross but so good at it, like they're just so charismatic about it, that I am like repulsed but also really impressed. Like, it's just kind of this juggling of kind of emotions. So that show has become kind of incredibly dark and gross, but really well made and well acted and all that stuff. So I still really like it, and I still tell people like, hey, this show's, I like it. But yeah, it's starting to become more kind of like spectacle of the week kind of thing, not like oh no, you need to check this out, this is important. So yeah, wow, there's some arguing happening in the chat. Again, I kind of periodically check in. All right. thanks for coming by, guys. We're almost done. Don't be too upset. Moving on to next questions. The Jazzy Karat. Carrot? It's got a K, so I guess like diamonds, carrots. This is an email actually, and new listener. So like, hi guys, I'm a pretty new listener. Thank you for coming by, and I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan. My question is, do you think that Marth will finally have an English voice in the new Smash Brothers games? I think so, because he has finally appeared in a main Fire Emblem game outside of Japan, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon in 2008, 2009. But then again, Lucas had an English voice, even though Mother 3 wasn't, and probably never will be released outside of Japan. I just wanted to know your thoughts on the subject. Keep up the great work. From Jazz. Okay, there's a Jazz, but yeah, there's a name in there too. Again, I'm not the Fire Emblem expert. That was one of those games I started playing like back in the GBA era and just kind of didn't really get hooked by it. But in terms of just kind of the outline here, like I guess that makes sense for kind of the reasons you outlined, that they would kind of give him a little more like relatable character for English audiences now that people actually know who he is firsthand, not like kind of, who's this? He's from Fire Emblem. What's that? It's coming out soon. And it's just like, oh, okay. Like back when Melee came out. I guess this would probably be a good question to run by the guys who have actually played the latest Fire Emblem stuff and are more keenly invested in that series. But it's possible. Sorry, I don't have a more kind of like opinionated answer on that. But yeah, Marth could well have English lines in the new Smash Brothers, just to kind of make him more like that series kind of matters more now over here. So maybe that would kind of make that more appealing for people. And I guess, yeah, 2008, 2009, like Brawl was already kind of around, so this is the first one since that change for his character. So okay, yeah, I mean, you kind of like laid out a pretty good scenario for why that would happen in the questions. So you're right. Good job. Homework. And yeah, thanks for listening. Podcasts, they're huge, kind of commitments, giant hour-long things of just a guy sitting on a couch. Oh, we should end this soon. Okay, Juker writes in with the last question of the week that I was able to gather. Maybe there was one in the last 5 minutes. I apologize. We'll throw it to next week with a kind of hopefully more diverse question answering section because there's multiple people. I've been holding off on playing Deadly Premonition Director's Cut for a while. Your thoughts compared to the original? Man, I should have ordered these differently because I have not played the Director's Cut version because I played the 360 one once to completion and then like 2/3 of it again. So I kind of got my fill in like 2010 and then 2011-ish. And then I have the Director's Cut on PC. I heard, like, I was kind of looking at the PS3 version when that was about to come out, but then I heard there was like some frame rate issues and stuff, so I held off on doing that. In terms of like the extra content and stuff, like I heard there's some more stuff in there, so I'm curious about looking at it, but I honestly have not seen it firsthand myself, so I feel totally fine with my purchase of the Director's Cut on PC. Hopefully it runs well and everything. I guess I can find out, but I guess I'm thinking like replaying games, like even games I really like it's just kind of the one kind of other media I've been able to compare it to is like rewatching an entire television series, because it's like almost the same time commitment. Like it's like I really like Twin Peaks, just for the Deadly Premonition comparison. Like I watched it in 2011/2012, I really dug it, but it's only been like 2 years. Like I don't need to go back and see that entire story play out again, like that whole mystery. Like I've consciously thought about it since then, but that hasn't been a thing. Like, all right, I'm going to set aside all this other stuff I'm doing to revisit this experience. Like, I'm glad I have that experience to go back to when I want to, and I'm sure I will at some point. Like, it'll be like a year or two down the road. I'll just be like, man, I'm going to play Deadly Premonition again. I remember how much I'd like that. Like, maybe 5-year anniversary. We'll do it next year or something. But yeah, I haven't personally been drawn back to doing that because I think partially in the back of my mind, like next time I do it, I want to do like all of it. Like I almost collected all of the collectibles and stuff the first time through, but then kind of petered out on that. Like I was going to get all the achievements and stuff. I ended up kind of falling short of that. I guess, but again, I guess then on PC, like I don't have that kind of compulsion to do achievement stuff anymore. Like the lust is gone. So I'll probably just enjoy it when I want to. So yeah, so I can't really compare it to the original for you. I know there are some kind of technical differences between the PC version, like the PS3 version and the 360 version. That might kind of, at least just that kind of secondhand knowledge, lead me to kind of point at the PC version as maybe being preferable, even though, like, even if the port is kind of wonky, which I'm not sure if it is, but that is a typical thing that happens with small PC publishers. Like, maybe just the community is pretty passionate for that game. I'm sure there's like fixes and stuff that could make that a pretty stable, good-looking experience, at least in terms of like how well Deadly Premonition could possibly look. Because I love that game. Some of those textures pretty dated, but doesn't matter because that game has so much character and heart. And that's kind of where it made up for it. So yeah, like I guess. I'm more keenly looking at Deadly Premonition Director's Cut as opposed to like actually playing spy fiction or like investing in a new system and Connect and stuff to see his next game with like sight unseen. Like I am still not sure if Swery, like Deadly Premonition, might have been a bit of a fluke. Like he seems like a very enthusiastic dude, so I'm sure like some of that is just purely like that dude is cool in that way, but there's some rough edges that are hard to excuse, and because of the kind of Twin Peaks layer on top of that, the kind of David Lynch-esque stuff, the constant movie references and stuff, like that was so narrowly targeted at just like this niche appreciation thing that I was so excited that like this game seemed like it was talking directly to me. Like it was just like making really weird movie references to kind of minor stuff in a way that didn't feel like, oh, well, yeah, it's just doing referential stuff. Like, it's just like, no, that is a weirdly specific thing to appreciate about that thing. Like, I think they brought up Blue Thunder and, like, American Werewolf in London and stuff, but, like, DVD features and, like, Killer Tomatoes, like, just, like, weird things that fit the character in a way that made me just kind of be like, this is a great avatar for me to have in this world. Because, like, I would constantly, like, if I was an investigator, I would constantly be having to compare it to, like, movie stuff, too, because that's just how I see the world. So that was kind of an extra sweetness there. So, yeah, like, outside of that kind of really narrow thing, I don't know if Swery's design ethics would translate into something better. But, yeah, sorry, I've been rambling enough. I don't feel bad about buying it. I don't know firsthand, like, how it is, so sorry I couldn't kind of answer that authoritatively, but kind of, was able to spin my tires for a bit. Anyway, that's it for questions this week. So at TDP Podcast on Twitter, that's a good way. That's where a lot of this week's came from. Top Down Perspective on Facebook. We have a group there. There's been kind of a steady liking happening over there, so that's cool. Reviewing on iTunes is always much appreciated for reasons that we've kind of belabored a lot on this podcast, but we don't seem to be on like the chart for video game stuff, which always kind of dismays me a little bit because, as we've discussed, like there's some podcasts on there that just seem really weird, like 7-year-old podcasts about Java games. Strange. Like I don't get it. Like we're kind of routinely doing new stuff. Like we definitely have gotten some reviews. I've seen that review number go up over the last couple weeks, so I appreciate everyone who's doing that. Yeah, like thank you guys for listening and everything, even when the whole team isn't here. And sorry, I believe I forgot the actual email, which is what this section is occasionally called. topdownperspective@gmail.com is another way of getting us questions. That's where Jazzy sent his, and thanks again for stopping by. I guess game of the week, I will just nominate my one game of the 2 games I played that I thought was more impressive. Well, that's kind of unfair. It's like a thing that's near and dear to my heart versus a new thing that I thought was cool. So because no one's here to stop me, and despite kind of some of the things I said that were very glowing about work time fun, I will give it to Rusty's Real Deal Baseball for making buying the game part of the game in a way that was actually endearing. Like that's kind of that's a feat right there. So Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, it is free to kind of see what it is on the 3DS, and then little by little you kind of buy into it a little bit more, and that's kind of part of the experience. So yeah, and man, if any of our listeners are just high rollers, they got $40, they want to see what happens if you just buy that game outright and report back with kind of what the hell happens, that would be much appreciated. But again, that is like a $24 experiment essentially that I don't expect anyone to embark upon. Maybe someone has already done that somewhere on the internet and I could check it out, but I want some firsthand reporting if anyone is willing to do that. That would be neat. But at the same time, it might kind of ruin the game. I don't know. So yeah, Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, available now from Nintendo. So yeah, that's it. Honestly, that is all we have. I managed to talk for an hour by myself. A couple dozen people showed up, and eventually some left. But I totally don't fault you at all for that, because it's just one guy. And again, Ravio, he's our sponsor this week. Ravio's Rentals. That game is pretty cool. Next week, Sean. I don't know if Sean will be able to record yet, because he's kind of, looking to go back to the States and kind of do some stuff at some point. So he's still kind of in limbo. I think John might be back, but he's also kind of preparing a bunch of internet business elsewhere, video stuff and whatnot. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be busy for a while. But my understanding is he'll be back. And hey, maybe we'll have Odafest reports. I don't know. Godzilla reports. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, thanks you guys for coming by. And that was Top Down Perspective for May 12th. I'm probably going to watch some Sopranos or something while I edit. Oh, yeah, bye.